Welcome to the Strong Life Coach podcast, where we speak life, coach life, write life, and lead life. Today, I'm joined in the podcast studio by my friend and special guest, Catherine Smith. Catherine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm excited about our conversation. I think principles you are going to share today from your journey are going to help people out there, which is what I'm passionate. I'm passionate about helping people and inspiring people, and really not just giving people the motivation, but really giving people the principles for them to use in their own lives. And I know people are going to be able to use principles you share to help them along the way. But before we get started, I want to make sure people know who you are and know a little bit about your background. So I'm going to go over a brief biography for you. So Catherine Smith is a dynamic marketing professional. She's a scholar athlete at Texas Wesleyan University on the women's soccer team. She's also the vice president of Enactus, which showcases social entrepreneurship in the community. She strategically elevates brands through social media and business networking, and her expected graduation date is May of 2020. How exciting.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm super excited. Thank you for that kind introduction.
So let me ask you the first question here. When did you first see yourself as a leader?
Okay, so the very first time, and so whenever I'm thinking of, when I saw myself the first time as a leader, I'm relating it to a time that I wasn't appointed this position, just a time when, I felt like that I was naturally followed by someone, that they saw me as a leader. And I would relate that back to actually my family and my little brother. So I have a younger brother, Daniel, who's 3 years younger than me. And I think I've just always kind of been that, second mom to him a little bit. My mom's there for him and everything, but I'm just there for the other side and motivating him. I would just push him to try harder in school because I believe I inspired him academically. For my brothers, academics didn't always come quite the easiest, and so I definitely, pushed him to take those AP classes. I would help him with his homework.
Nice.
Math didn't come the easiest. Something about math seems like you either get it or you don't. And he did not get math. And so I, would always be there to help him with his homework and actually help him try to learn and inspire him to just make better choices and be a better person.
Yes.
And I would say that's definitely my first leader experience is me and my little brother, just trying to get him to always improve and have a mindset for that. Definitely.
I love the way you describe that because it captures leadership as influence. Leadership is not position, right? I mean, it might be included in a position, or even if you read some of, like, of course, I'm a John Maxwell speaker, coach, and trainer, and he talks about the 5 levels of leadership, and they talk about position is the lowest rung on the leadership ladder, but you're talking about somebody who willingly follows you, willingly wants your influence. And I also appreciate how you talked about serving, like you took time to serve him and help him with his homework and influence him in that great way. And it's an encouraging, uplifting thing to be involved with that, with our family members, with our friends. And
absolutely.
And I appreciate your role in the family, doing that. It's seeking influence, seeking to be a positive role with academics. That's such a big deal. And
oh yeah, definitely.
So then, so how's he doing now? I mean, you think about the influence you provided for him. How's he doing now?
Yeah, and so he's doing really good. He is 3 years younger than me, so he's in his second year of college. So he made it to college, and he graduated high school. So that's all good stuff. But what I'm really most proud of is that he actually chose to follow his dreams. He didn't just just kind of do what his friends were doing. He actually reached out and is playing soccer at a university in England right
In,
now. He's home for winter break, but
in
yes, that's
England. That is
mhm.
amazing, right?
Yeah,
And
it is really kind of crazy. Hmm.
mhm. And to think about you had a role in that, right? You think about you had a role in somebody being across the world
Hmm.
in an academic setting and in playing soccer because
Yes,
you play soccer as well. Um,
I
so
do.
you
Hmm.
being that influence to him, and really, I mean, you're influencing somebody
Oh, yeah.
across the world, which is amazing to think about.
Hmm. Yes. Just I have kind of influenced him in a few different ways. Ever since we were younger, I would always kind of try to get him to either work out with me or, let's go play soccer, let's
Mhm.
go walk the dogs, or just something to stay active. He's
Yes.
in great shape now, but whenever he was younger, he was kind of, the only one with that extra baby fat.
Mhm,
And
mhm, mhm.
so I've, helped him be confident with his friends, even outfit advice. He would come to me asking me what to wear, and
Yes.
it's pretty funny, and just stuff like that. And so, yeah, I'm definitely
Mhm.
really proud of him. And I do still, from time to time, help him with homework, even from across the country. He'll ask for some advice on reading over his essay or something like that. And so,
Mm. I love
definitely grateful to be a
it.
part of that. Hmm.
I love it. And I love that you captured that as one of your first leadership experiences because, again, people get caught up in position, but really, if leadership is influence and you're influencing people, really people are influencing people in their family at a very young age. It might be, they influence their parents to take them to the store to get a candy bar. That's influence. That's
Hmm.
leadership, or to go get a toy, or you're
Exactly.
influencing your siblings to be
Hmm.
motivated with school or sports. And those are all components of leadership shown really early on in the journey. What would you say when you think about your leadership role with Enactus? What's the most rewarding part of your role there?
Yeah, so there's a lot of rewarding parts about being in Enactus, and specifically regarding to my leadership role, I'm the vice president of Enactus at Texas Wesleyan, and so with that, I oversee all the projects that our team's working on. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would say the most rewarding part of being in that position is getting to be, physically involved in those projects, being able to um, work with the students and help them see value and actually gain a good experience from being a part of the organization. And so it's really rewarding to be able to see students grow and learn, gain skills from being a part of the club, and also having to be a part of the process of impact where it comes to the project's actual impact. So
Mm-hmm.
for Enactus, we have a few different projects, but we're trying to make a sustainable impact in our community. And
Yes.
so, for example, one of our projects called Entrepreneur Her, and it's a female consultation program to where we're helping female entrepreneurs become more successful. It's really about making female entrepreneurs become more successful. And so
Mm-hmm.
I've had the honor of working with that project and the students, and we actually were working with one entrepreneur that had just started a organization about it was like a health product that was really personal to her, that with a syndrome that she was dealing with. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty amazing how the Enactus team could go in and really turn her business around, and make the profit margins so much more more large. Really made
Yes.
her company more profitable. They helped add more products, even added a subscription plan,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So it was really nice being able to be a part of both helping an entrepreneur and then also helping students be successful in a project and gain skills like marketing skills
Yes.
with that and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so lots of different rewarding parts.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. And let me explain to you for a moment why that's such a powerful thing you just described. Because I get a chance, and I lead these mastermind growth groups. And in the second session, it's an 8-week session I take people through. But in the second session, we talk about this idea of where people are at in the journey. We talk about 3 different areas: the foggy road, we talk about the frustrated road, and the fulfilled road. And the foggy road, most people, not most people, but a lot of people are confused about what they want to do. Some people are on the frustrated road where they know what they want to do, but they just don't do it. They don't do anything. And then some people are fulfilled. They know what they want to do and they're actively doing it. But I'm mentioning this because I'm finding on the coaching trainer side, most people I interact with about this activity, they're on the foggy road and the frustrated road. But what I'm hearing from you is y'all are working with somebody who's pursuing their dream as an entrepreneur, a woman in that role, and you're working on helping her dreams to come true. So she doesn't have to go back to foggy. She doesn't have to go back to frustrated. She can stay on the fulfilled path. And you and your organization with Enactus are empowering her and really elevating her brand for her to stay on that fulfilled path. So that, again, I think that's a beautiful, powerful thing to be involved.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. That was a good way to put it. And I like your experience insight on that take. So yeah, it's pretty big deal. It's really cool.
And plus, my sister, she's an entrepreneur. My mom's an entrepreneur. Of course, I'm, the reason you're even on this podcast is because I'm an entrepreneur, but of course they're women, and I'm really excited for them. So next year, again, I don't know if y'all target Fort Worth exclusively, but if y'all ever break out, Enactus is breaking out across the state, and I might have a few candidates to volunteer for the Entrepreneur Her initiative.
Oh, that's great to hear, because we are kind of shifting the project a little bit to where each year we're working with a different entrepreneur. So this year we're working with a woman who is working at a coffee shop that she had started on the east side of Fort Worth called Black Coffee, and it is near Texas Wesleyan. And so that's what we're doing right now. This past semester and this upcoming semester, we are working with getting that going. And she just, had her open store launch date recently, and we're working with that. And then next year we will have should have an open spot. So we'll have to talk about that.
Let me know. Right. It's funny because not only do I know those women, but then I have other women who have asked me to become their business coach to help them to, again, increase profits, increase clientele. But again, I think it's just great what the program is doing. So I'm inspired, and I'm inspired to know somebody like you who's involved with making an impact in the community and with with local businesses.
Thank you.
Let me ask you. So, who was or who is the biggest influence in your leadership journey?
Okay, so I would definitely say my 2 professors that are also the advisors for Enactus, Dr. Wright and Dr. O. They have influenced me in a number of different ways. So it all started, my Enactus journey, whenever I took an entrepreneurship class that they both were teaching, actually. It was like a hybrid class. So we would come to class once a week, and then the other day that we had class scheduled, we would just meet with our teams on our own time. So it wasn't with the professors, but the professors would switch off. So it was a different type of class, kind of like an elective. But it started with that class whenever we started one of our entrepreneurship projects with Enactus, which was Empower Fort Worth, a project I started with some of my classmates to help the homeless. And so we started in the entrepreneurship class, and then throughout that class, these 2 professors of mine had always, put into light the value that Enactus has, and then they also offered the opportunity to everyone in the class to audition for the presentation team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always just been really intrigued by all the opportunities that my two professors would offer the students.
Mm-hmm.
You can just tell that they're really trying to get students to get the most out of their college career.
Yes.
And so whenever I heard about the presentation team, I thought it was, a really great idea. Some of my teammates, were like, oh, like, I'm not going to do that. It's really time consuming and stuff like that. But the way the professors talked about it, it sounded like a really good opportunity to me to, learn presentation skills and go to the national exposition for Enactus. So because of them, they influenced me to audition for the presentation team.
Yes.
And they were there judging for the auditions. So there they are again.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the presentation team.
Nice.
And they were the two advisors that came to Kansas with us. So that's what the presentation team was for. We were going to compete our Enactus projects in the national exposition in Kansas against, 80 plus different schools in the U.S. And so they were in Kansas with me. And so that was an amazing experience presenting. And then after being in Kansas and seeing, that huge Enactus community, I was really inspired to take the extra step. I wanted to be more involved with Enactus because I just seeing how much impact the club, overall and just everything like that. And so I told Dr. O after our Kansas trip that I wanted to be more involved and I really wanted a leadership position. Mm-hmm. And so that was at the end of last year. And then, summer happens and school comes around the next semester and I was offered the vice president position for Enactus from those two advisors. So really don't know where I would be with Enactus without them. They've been there through it all.
Yes. What I'm hearing from you with what what they've done is, one, they provided opportunities for leadership experiences, and then they guided you along the way. It wasn't like, hey, like, all right, see you later, you're on your own from here. But it was like, we're really gonna provide this mentorship, this advice along the way to really help you to grow and blossom in what you're doing. Then you were able to go to Kansas. You're able to connect with other people who are focused, driven, and pursuing excellence with the national moments. And then, and still, I think what's beautiful about it is you had these. It gave you a vision of wanting to be more involved at that leadership level, and you already had all this experience. Now you had went to Kansas, and then you've shown yourself to be diligent. Yes. And I think it's just great to see what they did for you. I mean, how valuable is having that on your portfolio, your profile, your resume? Oh, yeah. Just the opportunity they gave to you. So again, I think about the leaders tuning in. They're asking about, hey, how can I be influential? Well, be like your professors. What opportunities for people tuning in can you give to others to have these great experiences? And how can you give them opportunities to not just have an experience, but to really guide them and mentor them through these opportunities and through the process?
Yes, and they made it seem like it was really doable. They're both such busy professionals. They're professors and they're parents and wives and everything like that. And so they really made it seem like I could do it. And because I knew it was going to be a big task joining the leadership team, the presentation team. I ended up having to memorize a 17-minute script, not just me speaking for 17 minutes, but it was a 17-minute memorized presentation with the team in Kansas that we performed together. And so it was just really inspiring to have those busy professors being there for the rehearsal of the script. Like they're there with us practicing too, like helping us. And so it was really inspiring knowing that they're so busy, but they're still here and they're not saying they're busy. They're making it happen. And I truly, after after presenting that, after we competed and presented our part, I had honestly never felt so accomplished in my whole life, because it was at the end of the semester, because we compete in May, and it's literally like a few days away from finals whenever we come back. And so it was around finals time. I was doing stuff with marketing still, and off-season practice. We were off-season, fortunately, but we would still have practice, and then classes and everything. And so there was a time when I didn't really know if I was going to be able to do it, rehearsing and memorizing a script, getting up at 7 a.m. For months in a row. And oh my gosh, I really have never felt so accomplished. Like,
That's
after that, I
awesome.
felt like I could do anything with my time if I could do all that.
All right. I love that. I love it. I love it because it gives you confidence, gives you experience, it gives you vision of what you can do. And I think you even captured this elements of sacrifice on their part. And you even said this phrase, you use this phrase that they never said they were busy, which it's fascinating you brought that up, because I think there's a principle inside of that it speaks to me is I often will hear people say they don't have, I mean, I'll hear people who have the least amount of responsibilities, if anybody that I know, and they'll say something like, I don't have time. And I won't be the jerk and say, you know what, like, you have more time than anybody I know because of the lack of responsibilities on your plate. I won't say that, but I will think it. But it has inspired me to stop ever using that phrase and to go, I haven't made time. I mean, but I'm not going to say I don't have time or I'm too busy, because I think there's so many creative ways to make things happen for the good of other people that that phrase, again, you can hold me accountable to this, Catherine, but I will not allow that phrase to come out of my mouth of I don't have time or I'm too busy.
Yes, that's perfect. And I'm realizing that's where I need to be too, because after that experience, and you can make time if you want to.
Exactly.
Wake up a little earlier sometimes.
Yes. So let's talk about maybe a challenge. Like, what unique challenge have you overcome in your leadership journey?
Okay, so, all right, thinking of a challenge, specifically being a project leader for Enactus, I came across a challenge of trying to keep my team motivated and excited throughout the semester. It's a little different working with college students. I mean, I'm sure it's the same with business professionals, but it's different whenever it's a club, because they're not getting paid for the club; they're doing it volunteer. They're definitely there to gain experience and learn something, and have better skills. But I have some trouble keeping them motivated and excited throughout the semester. I know they have other priorities with their classes, and so the meeting attendance started to get a little lower. People were busy, and that was definitely something I was struggling with. Kind of like a state of inertia. We were just kind of at a pausing point, not making a lot of progress. And the way I overcame that, I did reach out to my advisors that I mentioned earlier. I talked to Dr. Wright, and one, she made me feel better about myself as a leader, just with so much going on. I was worried. I wanted to always make sure I was trying to make the team feel like they're getting the most value. And so she reassured me and, made me feel good about my position. And then we also together brainstormed about how we can get out of this state of inertia. And so I was really grateful to be able to go speak with her and figure out what we could do. And what we ended up doing, we needed to just kind of spark some interest. We had to change it up a little bit. And so instead of meeting weekly, I told everyone to take the week off and make sure that they can be at the next meeting. That's a really important meeting. And so with having that week off to better prepare for a meeting, I was able to text each team member individually to make sure that they had it on their schedule, that they were going to be able to make it to the meeting, and also just make them feel like they're valuable to the team. Like, it's important for everyone to be there. And so I wanted them to know that I want them there, and they, we need them there. And so I think that helped was I got to take a moment to talk to everyone personally. And I think that helped with attendance. And then we also got some breakfast in and just really talked about everything in a more positive light, because I just had to keep in mind that they are there for a reason. So they do want to be there, and so I had to just keep that in mind. And what was the most effective part of it was we applied an affinity process. And so we had everyone, I gave everyone a sticky note, and I asked everyone, what do you see this project looking like in the future? Or what do you want to be working on next semester to make this project sustainable, and how you can personally make impact? Just to make everyone feel like, they have a say on what we're doing, and just make them feel more a part of it, instead of like, oh, this is what we're working on, and then, work on it, And so I think that was really important, to make everyone feel like they had a say in what we're doing. And I'm really excited to go into the next semester now that we've established some themes through the affinity process. After everyone wrote down their ideas, we put them on the board, and then it was kind of a silent thing, so that everyone could just, not be completely influenced by others' ideas, and just, put their original ideas on there so we can generate more ideas. And so I think that worked really well. And then we were able to discuss together, putting them into some themes, and come out with a pretty good game plan of how we want to go about the next semester. And I think that was really helpful in, making people feel more motivated, for sure.
Yes. I think you captured the element of leadership that leaders are asking about all the time, which is, how can I help my people to regain the motivation? How do I get that once again? But even the implementation of what you described, of personalizing the connection, you personalize, you get buy-in from their ideas and their thoughts, because there's so many people around us that have these great ideas to improve, to fine-tune, to refine what we're already doing, but then giving people a voice so that they're heard, they're understood. And this isn't, Catherine's idea. Hey, this is we're running with my idea, and get in or get off. The ship. But really helping them to understand their opinion matters. Their perspective is important. And you really want to use their perspective to make the whole program better. So,
yeah, you're completely right. And we did generate a lot of great ideas, stuff that I hadn't thought about, and some surprising stuff from some choir people. I was just really impressed by all the great ideas that we came about from that, and I think it's going to be very great. So you're completely right.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Indeed.
It works.
Indeed.
The affinity process, yes. Definitely recommend, if you want to brainstorm, instead of having just an open brainstorming session, it's nice to get everyone thinking on their own, instead of, everyone blurting out brainstorming ideas. Not everyone's going to participate when it goes like that.
Got it.
So,
yeah, I like
full
it.
participation. Yes, great ideas. It was good.
Yes. Now, how have you continued to grow in your leadership journey?
So one big way I would say that I'm continuing to grow in my leadership journey. So I applied for the BNY Mellon Enactus Student Fellows Program, which is an online program that's self-paced, and it helps deploy higher quality projects that have sustainable impact for Enactus clubs, and then also prepares those students taking the program to be prepared for a more successful career. And so I applied for that, and I was recently accepted, and so I'm super excited to be able to work on that. Yes, thank you. And so it's self-paced, so I'm going to definitely try to knock it out, hopefully before the next semester during the winter break, so I can, have that new knowledge before going into meeting with my team again. So I'd really like to finish it before then, but we'll see. It just depends how long it takes. But that is one big way that I would say I'm growing and trying to become a better leader in that way.
Yes. Let me comment on that, because what I heard is you have the opportunity to take a break and, to take maybe your foot off the gas a little bit, to kind of cruise. But instead of cruising, again, and I'll share another thing I talk about with these mastermind growth groups as a business coach, as a leadership trainer, we talk about this idea of, we have experiences in life. There's the cruise experiences. This is what we've done before. We have the coast experiences. That's like when we stop doing what we've done before. We're kind of coasting. We're not going as strong as before. And then we have these crank experiences where we're really taking it up and us doing something we've never done to really stimulate our growth. And what I'm hearing from you is, during this winter break, you're really trying to crank in, what else can I grow in? What else can I learn? What skills can I refine during the break to be better prepared and better equipped to maximize efforts in this final semester? And really, I imagine you're going to be able to use the skills you learn and the strengths you attain even into your professional career.
Absolutely, yes. I try to use my time wisely, so I'm excited about the break with some more free time to do stuff like this that I've been wanting to focus on. And so, yes, I'm definitely wanting to keep growing with that. And with graduating in May, I'm hoping that I can, maybe mentor someone coming into my position or another project leader position and help them.
Yes.
After I graduate, and especially from stuff that I'm going to learn from that course, I'm really excited to transfer that knowledge too. And so, yeah, that's one way I'm continuing to grow in my leadership journey. Absolutely. Enactus is, very helpful in that, because it is an Enactus program. So that's another cool thing about Enactus.
Yes.
And then besides that, I'm just taking steps in my professional career. I'm still doing marketing and, taking higher, not positions, but just bigger tasks, putting myself in situations like that. I've been working with my advisors. Like I mentioned earlier, Dr. Wright, she helps me grow as a leader almost every time I meet with her. And specifically, a more leadership opportunity that I'm facing right now is I'm meeting with Dr. Wright, and we are planning and coordinating to have a super awesome motivational speaker come to Texas Wesleyan. Yes, and I'm coordinating that with her, and it's something new to me, but we're so excited about it.
Motivational speaker. Who do you have coming? Who do you have coming?
Well, I don't want you to get too jealous, but it is Derek.
Hey.
Derek Guajardo.
So hey, there we go. So for people listening in, Catherine has been doing a fantastic, amazing job coordinating this event. So let me just share about her real quick. So she's really impressed me with her diligence. Catherine, you've impressed me with your diligence and your focus, your follow through with coordinating this event. And even the way the way you describe it, it's one of those rare events that's happened on the Texas Wesleyan campus, and it has me excited. I think your questions have stirred me up, and to make it, to take the event, because I plan every event to be great. But I think your ideas and your follow through and your questions have made it, I think, to make it even better. So I'm super looking forward to it. Looking forward to adding some great value to the students and the faculty that get a chance to attend. But I'm really pumped about the opportunity. So
I'm almost speechless when I start thinking and talking about that. And it really is kind of crazy. They haven't had a student ever host an event or coordinate an event or anything like that. And so I'm really excited I'm going to try to make this one of the biggest events Texas Wesleyan has ever had, actually, because I was meeting with one of the career service people trying to get everything coordinated. And, I was like, yeah, we're going to cap the registrations at like 130. We'll probably get, 75 people or so. And then they're like, we haven't had an event that big.
Wow, let's go.
Yes, and then I'm pretty determined, and I'm really excited about it. And so
yes,
it's crazy. And Dr. Wright has been there helping me with the whole thing. I couldn't do it without her, and it's just amazing. It really is kind of, I see it as like a smarter thing, because we are a smaller university, and I have the opportunity to just go into my professor's office and say, hey, I got this opportunity, and we were able to collaborate on it, and she's really just like letting the strings go and letting me control a lot of it, and it's pretty amazing. I'm super excited.
Yes. Again, you're doing a fantastic job. Again, I told you, I think you have some great promise in whatever professional path you choose after graduation. But I think the more I interact with you, the more value I see that you're going to add to any organization you're a part of. And and one of my great opportunities is anybody who invites me to do anything. One is to exceed their expectations, to do better than they even expected, but also to make sure that that I convey my admiration and gratitude to my host, which in this case is you, and make sure that I elevate your brand in the process. So again, super excited about that. Again, great.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm grateful. We got a chance to connect in October, which is kind of crazy. We've known each other 2 months, and then we're putting this event together. It has me super pumped and excited.
It's amazing, yeah. And it's funny. Just kind of how everything connects to each other. For example, I got my marketing job whenever I was doing the phone-a-thon for Texas Wesleyan, which is like a 2-week job where you call the alumni to update records and see if they want to donate to the Wesleyan Fund. And so that's how I met Shelly, who is my boss, as you say, to my marketing career right now. I met her she's a Texas Wesleyan alumni, and so I started just talking about marketing to her, and, the rest is history. Yes. And, it started with Texas Wesleyan on the phone-a-thon job, and then I meet you with BNI, and now, back to Texas Wesleyan, I'm bringing my BNI and Texas Wesleyan together and bringing you here, and it's just going to be amazing.
Well, to check this out is, so I joined BNI in July, so super fresh with Business Network International, and it's an amazing journey, and I'm super grateful to be connected. Then I went to this training in San Antonio in September for BNI, and I saw the guy in the front of the classroom speaking and training, and his name is Ben. And I said, I'm going to go up to Ben after this class because I want to know how I could not take his job, but how I could be like him and do what he's doing, like training for BNI. And then he goes, all right, talk to this guy named Shane. And I go, okay, I will. So I set up a meeting with Shane. And then Shane said, all right, I want you to meet over the phone this woman named Shelly. And then Shelly's like, okay. So she kind of interviews me. And then 2 weeks later, I'm in Fort Worth, where I get a chance to meet you, and Shelly told me, and Shelly's hilarious. She said, I was saying, hey Shelly, thank you so much for taking a risk on me. I know I haven't been in BNI very long. I'm like 3 months in at this point, and Shelly told me, you are the biggest risk I've ever taken in my, I think she said 18 years of being in BNI. And I said, wow. Well, thank you, number one, but number two, your risk will be rewarded many times over. But just to take that, put that in context, I wouldn't have been there like 3 weeks before. Like it all came together rather rapidly. And again, I'm grateful to connect with you and be connected with BNI. It's been a thing. So
it's crazy how everything falls into place like that sometimes.
Yes. So, talk to me about how you balance your efforts. So you've done your thing as a scholar athlete, community involvements, your professional role with Business Network International. How do you balance your efforts, balance your time? How do you do that?
Yeah. And so One thing that I've noticed that's been helping me recently. One thing I've noticed that's helped me recently is actually waking up earlier, but that's something a little new, and so that helps with time management. But I've been doing marketing with BNI for a little over a year now, and what's helped me throughout over time in balancing all of my different roles, one thing I would say is definitely keeping an organized planner or agenda. I like having like a physical agenda that I can write in. And so that's been really helpful to me to actually have it laid out and have all my goals and plans written out and knowing what I need to work on next and knowing what, I'm doing for the day. And so definitely keeping a planner is super helpful. But another thing that I've seen beneficial by being a college student is really minimizing the amount of naps I'm taking. And so I don't take those 3-hour naps like I would in, when I was younger. I definitely have realized I'm trying to be the most productive with my time. And I just don't like, wasting 3 hours of the day napping, especially, after hearing some sleep stuff about, power naps are more productive, like a 15-minute, 25-minute nap. And so if I take a nap, I need to do a power nap instead of, putting so much time into sleep like that. And so I've noticed that minimizing the amount of naps I'm taking, I really just don't take many naps, and that helps me be productive in my time. And then also, if I'm tired, of course, I'll take the power nap. But, keep the naps on low. And then also during the school year, because I'm, busiest during soccer season and school year. And so I really try to not get caught in a Netflix series because I know I'm going to want to watch a show instead of doing my homework or whatever else I need to be working on. And so I really try to not get into one of those series during busy times like the school year. But I also, do think it's important to have something to take a break and relax from. So I did still watch a series. I finished up Orange is the New Black this past summer whenever we were in 2 days for soccer. And so I had to move back into my dorm on campus a month before school started to practice soccer twice a day with my team for the preseason. And so that was a time I found that was, for me, acceptable to watch a Netflix series since classes hadn't started and I needed to relax a little bit in between practice sessions. And so, there was times for it, but overall, I just try to minimize doing stuff that I find not productive and then, still try to balance being relaxed. And so definitely, series like that, and then social media nowadays is also a big thing. I had to just cut Twitter out. My roommates all have Twitter, and they're always on Twitter, and not always. Sorry, girls, but they like Twitter, and they have a group message and everything. And I used to be in the group message, but I didn't have my notifications on, so I would just see their conversations like a week later. And then, I'd respond like, oh, that was a funny video. And then I was like, you know what? I should just delete this app because I don't even use it. And so I just cut Twitter out and then also try to minimize the amount of time I'm scrolling through social media feeds. I just one day noticed, that's just too much time being wasted on scrolling through social media. And so I'm still active on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, but I'm definitely have made a significant difference in how much I use social media over time, and that's definitely helped me be more productive with my time.
Oh yes, I think you hit some big areas when it comes to maximizing time. Again, we talked about it earlier. This idea of people who say that I don't have time, for whatever it is. But then it's like, okay, well, how many hours of time do you spend on actually watching that Netflix series or the Amazon Prime series or that Hulu series? Or how much time did you scroll on Facebook today? Like this idea, we spend so much time doing a bunch of things, but often not like the main thing and things that really help us to improve and grow. But I think you are realizing that, in a pivotal time in your life, where you're prioritizing and figuring out what's the best use of my time, which I think is always valuable to understand. So
absolutely.
I do want us to bring it in for a landing here. And before we do, I want you maybe to share maybe your favorite qualities about your mom and your dad.
Okay. So that's an easy one. So really, I want to start with my mom because she is so unique and special. And if anyone knows my mom, they'll just completely agree and know what I'm talking about. So she's so sweet. So my mom, Teresa, she is from England, and so that just adds a little different for everyone over here. And so she's from England, and she is just so extremely independent. I guess my favorite quality about her is that she is just so positive and comfortable with herself that she doesn't overthink anything or care about, what everyone else thinks. She's just completely doing her own thing. And, I think that's kind of come from her background. She's grew up in, not the nicest part of England. And so she came to America when she was 23, officially moved here, but she was traveling at 16 by herself. And she's just always been so strong and independent and just really inspiring on how much herself she is. Definitely inspires me because it's not easy to just not care about what everyone's thinking as much as, people say, oh, I don't care what people are thinking, or I don't care. It's easy to say that, but she truly kind of lives that lifestyle.
Nice.
And she's so sweet. Like, everyone loves her. It's not like she's careless, but she is just completely herself, and I love that about her.
Nice.
Yes.
I love it.
And relating to my dad, one of my favorite qualities about my dad, I would say he's also really independent. I just love how self-sufficient he is. He just kind of believes in himself, even if he doesn't have the capability. Like, he's not a mechanic, for example, but he'll still go try to fix my car outside, even if it's not his forte. And so he's a quiet guy, but he I wish he would ask for help a little more often, but he really doesn't ask for help much, and he's out there in our backyard just like oh my gosh, just like slaving to the pool or the whole backyard. And so he's such a hardworking man, and so I really definitely love that part about him, that he's very self-sufficient and hardworking.
I love it. I love hearing people talk about their parents, because it's such it's pivotal for me. It's a pillar principle of honoring the people, responsible for us, right? And understanding where we came from, and then really even how they are really influences who we are. And I think about your dad's, his diligence, his focus, his determination. And you think about your mom and her being uplifting and positive. And then so so those imprints of who they are get a chance to be passed on to you, which is awesome. So, and plus I kind of like the idea, if they get a chance to listen to the podcast, they get a chance to hear something and something positive and uplifting that you have to say about them. So,
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I do want to say thank you once again for joining the Strong Life Coach podcast. I'm here with Catherine Smith. Catherine, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I let people know. I mean, so this is the Strong Life Coach podcast. We speak life, coach life, write life, and lead life. And if you're tuning in, be sure to give it the 5-star rating over on Apple Podcasts, to rate it well, to share the podcast with somebody who can benefit from what we talked about. And
Yes.
remember to subscribe. Thank you very much once again.